Hello, and welcome to the Footy Podcast. To benefit Here's Help. Here's Help is a nonprofit comprehensive rehabilitation and educational agency that's been providing treatment services in South Florida since 1968. For more information on Here's Help or Footy's podcast, you can contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. Now, here's Footy.
So anyway, the Footy Podcast, we are here, and it's so funny driving to the podcast today. I was saying, okay, well, what can we do for a subject? And I thought, you know what, maybe we should follow up on some of the guys who've been going through the program here at Here's Help and who've been with us on the podcast in the past. And I thought, you know, we should maybe talk about Nick, Chris, or
He's
some.
got like 9 names.
I know. Well, they're all aliases. That's why I call him Nick Chris. And so I come to the studio, and I'm getting everything ready to record, get the camera set up and stuff. And there's a knock on the door, and who walks in but Nick Chris.
Why do you have 7 names?
I got 2 names, it's Chris and Nick. And Nick
What is your name?
My name is Chris, but I prefer to go by
Why
Nick,
do everybody call you Nick?
That's a stage name.
basically.
Okay. Well, thanks for being on with us.
What time are you going back to Mars?
Exactly at 10:07.
So now, when the last time we spoke to you on this podcast, you had gone through the program, you were helping us put the podcast together, and you had graduated the program, and we sent you off to, I think it was Amazon. You were working at Amazon, right? Was that?
No, what
No?
happened was I found a job at 7-Eleven,
Mm-hmm.
and what happened was I thought I was ready for the real world when I stepped outside. I thought, and I took the initiative, you know, it's my time to spread my wings. It's my time to go fly and do what I have
Yeah,
to
you
do.
were fired up.
But what was the difference was I didn't change my people, places, or things.
Yeah, you went and got involved with people
Yes, I know.
that you shouldn't have got involved with.
Well, I think it's important to note, and and you've explained this to me, in the world of recovery, you have to keep in mind that it's taken you however long it's taken you to get into that situation that you're in, and so to undo several years of behavior in a couple of months doesn't always work, and so sometimes you have to come back.
Well, he hit on the head. You have to go to your new life,
Or what we call the replacement life.
the replacement life. You can't just one day walk away, you know. And I did it because, well, I was kind of done.
And you were in the program for 2 years too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So-
And I was kind of done. And they had every agency in the federal government after me, and they and I was done. I really was. I was like, you know what? I don't need this aggravation anymore.
Mhm.
And I went eventually into the program by accident because I didn't really even know what a program was.
Well, no one did in those days.
Yeah, they didn't really have much. So they sent me. They took me from the jail, which was my normal residence, and they took me. My lawyer, explain this. My stepmother worked for a big law firm in Manhattan, and she introduced him to my disaster, and he helped me get to, you know, more productive places.
Yeah, something other than just incarceration.
Yeah, and and they took me from the jail to the hospital where they had the program. They were right next to each other. They walked me over there in chains, to give you an idea, and
Wow.
it didn't seem abnormal to me.
Wow.
So they took me in there, and I never forget. I went in my first. They don't really do it anymore, but they used to have these sort of conference sessions where they'd grind you pretty hard to see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they took me over there, and I had zero, zip, Z idea of what they're talking about. I was like, what?
What were they saying?
What planet are you people from?
Was it that? Oh, you hate your parents. This is all
No,
because
no,
of that
no,
kind
no,
of thing?
no,
Or
no.
What was
They-
the angle?
No, that wasn't. That was not the.
Oh.
The angle was, I was a drug addict. I wasn't stopping.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother and I, we knew every drugstore in the greater New York, Long Island area.
And when they were closed.
And when they were open.
Oh, okay.
And we had more. Well, back then, there was a lot of old neighborhood stores, and they didn't really know, they didn't fully understand what was
Right.
going on. And many of them didn't want to understand,
Mm-hmm.
because they just wanted to sell as much stuff as they could.
Right.
And
The neighborhood pharmacy, not the big chain
yeah,
store.
there were, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways that I got inducted was his name was Andy Graziani. I still remember him. I ended up in jail with him. He was my pharmacist. And
Wow.
but he had a very small store in a very small town on Long Island. He needed customers.
Right.
Well, guess who walked in the door? And, I was living off him in a lot of ways, and a number of others. We had other drugstores. And if they weren't, I don't know, how could I say, cooperating, we would use the nighttime attack. In other words, we basically would wait till the store closed and then rob the store.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was my friend, my friend Johnny McKenna. This is a story, boy. I go to the hospital for my counseling. And Johnny McKenna was a good friend of mine. And I walk in, I see Johnny. And I hadn't seen him like in a year and 2 years. And because his family sent him somewhere to Wyoming or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back. And at that time, I was only going in the evenings. Only in the evenings. And I walk in, there's Johnny. And I was one of the original 7
In the program.
that started the program with Dr. Sears. And rest in peace. And so I walk in, there's Johnny. But he had no charges. He never got arrested. He didn't. He stayed out of trouble because the family kept sending him to the place he couldn't find any trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And now he was back. And him and I, we were at the county hospital. And Johnny and I were waiting in the lobby for my stepmother to pick me up, and he was going to get a ride.
Mm-hmm.
His ride was going to go to a different place. But because it was a Friday night, and he was going in Monday, and he had no charges, which to me was like, really?
Right.
That can happen? And but I'm there, and I had a life. I had a girlfriend. I got a job. I was living a more. I wasn't. This is a good lesson for you guys. I didn't go back to my old friends and stuff. I didn't. I got a girlfriend and I got a job. And when I would run into them, I'd be like, hey, see you later. I moved on. I wasn't doing it anymore. And So anyway, I'm in the lobby of the hospital with Johnny. We're going to give Johnny a ride. You know. And he says, do me a favor. I said, what? So he said, have Marie, my stepmother, have her drop us off at the corner of this corner. And the drugstore was across the street.
Oh.
My girlfriend was down the other street. So we gave her some, story and whatever, and she dropped us off, and I'm on the corner with Johnny. And you got to remember that Johnny and I were like this. And Johnny says, well, I'm in the lingo of the time, he says, I'm going to do super. It's called super drugs. He said, I'm going to wait all the lights and everything go out, and I'm going to rob the store. He says, why don't you come with me? I go, well, I'm not on the volunteer program. Okay, Johnny, you are. They are watching me like a hawk. And they're annoyed because I got put in the program by my big, powerful lawyer from my
They wanted you behind bars.
Oh, they do, yeah. They used to come, back then, they used to come and sit in the council. Probation officers, cops even. And they would grab you in the hallway and rough you up and ask who did what, where's Joe and whatever else. So it was a different kind of world. It wasn't quite as gentle.
Yeah.
So, but I had the girlfriend, who I still talk to today. I have the girlfriend, I have the job, and but I have to still go. I was like in the last phase. I had to go 3 nights a week, even back then, at the end of it. So I'm standing there with Johnny, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't like me, or it wasn't in my framework to just not do it. Johnny says, we're going to do it, I'm going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And I was standing on that corner with him, and I said, you know what? I can't do this. I said, I'm not going to go to jail for 5 years, or 10 years, 7, 8 years, whatever it is, for a bottle of cough syrup or whatever it happened to be. Because, when you're in the drugstore after hours, there's a lot of selections that you can make. And but I had already been about as straight as I could be. And I said to Johnny, he said, well, have Marie, my stepmother, give me or take me and drop me off, because he lived around the corner. We were out on Long Island at the time. So him and I are standing on the corner, and I'm going, you know what, Johnny? I ain't going through that window again. I've been through that window too many times, and I
imagine at that point, if you'd been caught, they would have put you away.
I had already been caught 26 times.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
The only reason I wasn't in Sing Sing was because my lawyer.
Right.
My stepmother worked for him, and he was a big Manhattan lawyer. He took me. He had to help clean up my cases. He took me to a traffic court in the Bronx that I had to get straightened out. That somebody accidentally fell in the hood of the car, and there was a lot of things. We had to backtrack to get, and I had charges pending on Long Island. They have these rich towns that So I had been involved in a few of them, and he got me out of those too, because he was such a big shot. He was like, I think he was an alderman in Manhattan on top of it, but he could walk into any courtroom, any jury, anything. Everybody stopped. Because when we went to the Bronx, there was like 11,000 people online to go clear up their cars, troubles and stuff. He walked. He said, "Go in and sit down." I went in and sit down, and he walked in the court. they stopped. Everything stopped. And the judge was like, "Oh, hey,
Hi, Bob.
hi, yeah, what can I do for you?" And there was like 100 people waiting.
Uh-huh.
And he came and he gave them my saga,
Mm-hmm.
and they dropped all the charges and everything. No, you know why? He bribed the cop in the bathroom.
Did he really?
Yeah. He gave him $100 and said, "Forget about this case."
Wow.
Yeah. And I saw him when he came out of the bathroom. And the cop came out, and all of a sudden he was like, "No, I didn't. What? No, I haven't. I don't
I
know.
don't think this is the guy.
Yeah, this is not the case I was talking to."
This is not the person.
Yeah.
These
So-
are not the drones you're looking for. Droids.
But I had to go around. Like I had to go to the Bronx. I had to go to Queens. I had to go to Manhattan. I had to go out to Long Island
Wow. you
because
got-
I had, I had gotten to a lot of places.
I guess.
And they were also the police were on to things. They
Mhm.
weren't as naive as they once were.
No.
So that was another big problem. So then, but then I went to jail, but I went to the program, and from the jail, and I spent 2 years
Mm-hmm.
in there. So Johnny McKenna, going back to that,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what his brother turned out to be?
Mm-hmm.
He became a hack in the jail. He became a guard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And while Johnny,
Was in there in the same
No, no,
facility?
he
Oh,
did.
I was going to say.
we went, he was with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "No, I'm not doing it." And I said, "They also know I left with you.
Right.
So even if I was thinking of doing this is not going to work out."
Right.
So I went my way. And we were friends. I mean, we were very close friends. And for a very long time. And I went over to the girlfriend's house. Next morning, ding-a-ling-a-ling, "Johnny's dead, Johnny's dead, Johnny's
No.
dead." Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He robbed a drugstore. And on the way home, he OD'd and died.
Wow.
But he had done that once before. And Johnny didn't know any boundaries. He was really, not that I was big with boundaries. I was with Johnny all the time.
Well, you had your point where you weren't going to go any further. You had kind of like that line in the sand where you're like, okay, this is it.
Yeah, but it was.
He hadn't reached that.
Well, he was a volunteer. They didn't have any charges on Johnny.
Oh, right. So,
Yeah, so it was kind of strange. They had like enough charges for me to spend a life. in
Yeah.
jail. And anyway, so now Saturday morning, because we went Friday night. Saturday morning, I pick up the phone. It's his sister, Eileen. "Johnny's dead. Johnny's dead. Johnny's dead."
Wow.
And I'm like, "Oh, God.
Right.
Who was the last guy with Johnny?
Mm.
Who left the hospital with Johnny? Who was buddies with Johnny?" Okay. So I'm like, "Oh, boy." So,
Here we go again.
yeah, she told me not to go to the funeral. Because he went to a church called Our Lady of Mercy. I was going to go. She said, "You better not go."
Mm.
And so, and I didn't do anything,
Mhm.
Substantial at least, circumstantial. I did. So now I go Monday to report in at the hospital. Well, let me give you a look at what the room was like. Because we not only had counselors, we had social workers, we had Dr. Sears, we had all of us, and I was in the original 7. I was in the
Mhm.
original group, the first that they had. And it was pretty uncomfortable for quite a while.
To say the
And-
least.
Yeah, they were not crazy about it. But Dr. Sears she believed, I don't know if she believed in me, but she said, so what happened? I said, we went to the hospital. It was his first night back. He'd been out, who knows, in Wyoming or wherever he was. And, but it was also, if you knew Johnny, this was his M.O. He didn't have any boundaries. Not that I did either. In fact, him and I were together. We we did a lot of things. But anyway,
Well,
this guy, his name was Mike Quinn, and he had, his father had some kind of electric motor repair business. And Quinn got a car, like a really nice Chevy, whatever it was. And we got Quinn. Because, so we were making, he was driving us to drugstores because Johnny and I could get whatever we needed.
Wow.
And eventually we went to a basketball game on the North Shore of Long Island. And on the way back, things didn't go too well. Quinn's car, the right fender, like that would be to the curb.
Passenger side.
Well, it wasn't on the passenger side anymore. It was sticking straight up in the air. Because, we were on the North Shore and there's all these little towns and we hit a car. And it sliced the car and the car went, the right front fender got sheared and was shooting straight up in the sky. So, but we weren't the most alert people when it came to that, So the next morning, Quinn calls me and he goes, my fender is pointing to the moon. And he's like, so, but I was quick to think, and I said, listen. He says, he got up before his father. He didn't want his father to see the car, or his mother to see the car. So he went out, got in the car, and was driving around with the moon light. So no. I said to him, I said, Quinn, use your head. He goes, what? I go to a shopping mall, pull in a parking place, and walk away and go walk around the mall for a while. Then come back and go, oh my God, somebody hit my car. Okay, which he did, and he pulled it off.
Wow.
But his family was suspicious of
I'm sure.
But it didn't. Yeah, we had more ways to do things. And part of why I'm telling you all this stuff and the guys all this stuff is there's a lot of important lessons here. You got to start the new life. You have to get away from the old, the places you were, and you got to get away from them. You have to, at some point, you have to go, you know what, I got to get a life. And I did it, and...
well, you even went so far as to leave the state. I mean, you were so...
Oh, yeah. They weren't real... I wasn't real welcome.
Yeah, you didn't have much of a choice, but you did. I mean, you got
Yeah.
away from those old friends.
Yeah, they told me when I finished my program, and the cops were just waiting. And because in their minds, I was getting away with it.
Right.
And I had a big shot lawyer, so their plan there was, we're going to get you.
As soon as he's out, he's
and
ours.
Dr. Sears told me, she said, listen, you got to leave.
Right.
He said, the day you're out of my supervision, they're going to get you. He said, we're just waiting to get you. So wait, let me tell you how I got out. So I had another girlfriend on the side. She was good. Her name was Jerry. And Friday came, that would have been my last day in the program, which it was. And then Monday, I would have gone into civilian life.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that as soon as Monday came, they were going to come walking in, because it was different back then. Your counselor could be a judge, or a probation officer, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that Friday, guess what it was?
I don't know.
Woodstock.
Oh, right. You told us the story. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Woodstock, and I went up there with that girl
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of her friends, two of which I hated.
But it was a free ride.
Yeah, she took.
Mhm.
It bothered them a lot more than it bothered me.
Right.
And we went and we stayed at the Laurels, which was a resort hotel in the Catskills in the mountains. That's where it was.
I love that story. You're the only guy I know that could have gone to the mud fest that was Woodstock. Everybody else is sleeping in wet sleeping bags in the mud
Oh, it was
without
disgusting.
food, and you're at a resort enjoying your omelet. You want cheese on your omelet, man?
Yeah, I got a box of ribs. Was eating ribs on the thing. I was doing great. And the funny part was, the resort was, say, here, and across the mountain road was where our cottage and housing was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, just living there, and for 2 days.
Right.
It wasn't a risk for me because I wasn't doing anything, and I wasn't, I didn't know anyone here. So,
You were probably also the only straight person that was at Woodstock.
yeah, you're right. You might have been right about that. No, you know what? There was a lot of drinking going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, and it was weird because there would be people from California.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. You came all the way from California to come up into the Catskill Mountains?
Right. Well, we talked about the word was Dylan. Dylan was going to come out of hiding.
Oh, right.
and-
Yeah,
and
that was
so
the big thing.
that
Well,
was
he
the big
lived
draw.
in the next town.
Well, he was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. These Jimi Hendrix and all those guys, nobody knew who they were.
Right.
And they were all playing because they got exposure.
Right.
They
Well,
got some.
It was only the second time Crosby, Stills, and Nash had even played together in front of an
Yeah,
audience.
yeah.
So no one. I think one of the biggest acts there was Sha Na Na.
Hey, listen, to be honest with you, I could have cared less about any of them. I didn't. I would walk from the. What I would do is I would separate myself from the girls, because I was with like 4 or 5 girls
Mm-hmm.
and the girlfriend that I was with, and I would walk at night, the Friday and Saturday night,
Mm-hmm.
and Sunday night it turned out. I would walk to the grounds, and I was all dressed up, walking like, and the people had knapsacks and backpacks and all
Right.
kinds of stuff. They were sleeping in the woods.
Been on the road for 12, 15 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had been to so many of those things.
Yeah.
I was at Newport. I would all those. We would go to them all the time looking for girls. That was our main occupation. And it was the same thing. And we didn't really screw around with that. I was sleeping with a girl. So, hello, my roommate was a girl. So, but I did. I walked at night. It was really, to be honest with you, there was no structure. There was no.
It was very poorly organized.
Oh,
and
it was
they-
horrible. There was no hot dog stand. There was no Coke
Yeah.
place.
I interviewed Artie Kornfeld, he and Mike Lang put that on, and he was telling me how it was just they were completely unprepared for the crowds, and they were trying to charge admission, and at one point they just gave up because the makeshift fence they had built got
nobody
knocked down.
We did.
Right.
We
So-
knew that from all those festivals.
Newport was a little more organized.
Newport was structured.
Right.
Yeah, they had actual police there that were, giving us. They had those. They were in New England, so they had those like Nazi uniforms. And you couldn't really. No, they threw us off the beach because we were sleeping in the car.
Right.
We had to go with the and Janis Joplin down in Atlantic City at the horse track.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Interesting.
went there. But we did a lot of those things. That was how we kind of got along. We
Yeah.
had a lot of fun.
Well, those were people forget those were the days. There were no cell phones. There was no internet. There was no email. And so that was kind of, in a lot of ways, that was the only way you could hook up with your friends or meet.
Oh, yeah.
You'd run into people,
Yeah,
Hey,
you had to go to a payphone to make
Right.
a call, and you were lucky if you could
good
get
luck
that.
even finding a payphone.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
Hey,
So wait, I went. You want me to tell the end of the story?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I went. I came back with her, and on a Monday morning, on a Sunday evening, and a Monday morning, like at 5 a.m., a friend of mine, Billy Reichert, is in the car outside my house, and I'm in the car going to Miami. And we moved to Hialeah and went to Miami-Dade North.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, I stayed away.
Well, I don't want to interrupt you, but we have this other young man who's been sitting here
Who the
very
hell is he?
patiently.
Who cares what-
You should
You
know.
think he's gonna have? You think he's gonna have a big story like I have?
I don't think you weren't at Woodstock, were you?
No.
He wasn't even born yet.
I know. Well, what's your first name?
Benjamin.
And how long have you been here at?
I've been here for about a month.
And how did you wind up here?
I wind up here on my own, but
Mhm.
because I also want to have my custody of my child,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I'm here.
And
So they took custody of your child away.
Yeah.
They took custody of child away. Don't you have 2 children?
Yeah, I have one on the way.
Another one.
Yeah. 2 boys.
You got a big arena that you got to get straightened out. Okay. You can't refund kids.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so you better get real serious. Because you know what the first thing they're going to want from you? Your girlfriend, wife, whatever she is, and the kids? Huh?
Food, money.
Money. That's what they're going to look for.
Yeah.
Who do you think they're going to count on for money?
Me.
and who should they count on?
Me.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I eventually, got out of I got out of certain types of supervision, which allowed me to work. My father had he had a machine shop, precision gears, it's complex, but I knew how to do it. So when I got to the point where I would be allowed to go somewhere during the day, that's where I went. And it was good because it kept me busy. And I would go to the shop and I was making money. And then I would go straight to the girlfriend's house. And, there was a couple of girlfriends, but the main one I would go to. And I tell you, you know what? We listened to music. We watched TV. I worked. I saved money. And I would go after work. I would go straight, I would go home, change, and go straight to her house every night. And as I said before, I still talk to her. And it's funny, when I talk to her, she knows how to talk to me. Like, she'll give me warnings. Like, don't get involved in that stuff, or don't do this, or don't do that, whatever it happens to be. Not that I'm in danger of relapsing into that stuff anymore. But you never know, So, between the girlfriend, Dr. Sears, the job, okay, and I was basically living in plain sight. Like they were watching for me, but I wasn't doing it anymore. So you got to let it all go. You got to let the old garbage go. If this doesn't work, but it's not that easy either.
I try.
You have a lot of old friends that pop up. You have a lot of this that pop up, and You know, I really just cocooned. You know, I didn't go anywhere. After a year or two, I started to go a little way. You know, I'd go to those concerts, and it was fun. You know, but what was best about it was, for me, it was really a very low risk activity, because the things that I was involved in were not present as those things. You know, Dave all smoking joints and everything, and it was like, you have any real drugs here?
And on that note,
Yeah.
we'll take a short break. We thank you for listening to the Footy Podcast, and we thank you for subscribing. We'll be right back.
Have you been introduced to Footy Sauce? Footy Sauce makes it easy to give ordinary chicken wings extraordinary flavor. Footy Wing Sauce is made with a perfect blend of herbs and spices. So what are you waiting for? Pour it on. Footy's Wing Sauce guarantees you a better tasting chicken wing every single time. When you fire up the grill, pour it on. Let Footy be your wingman. Kick your next party up a notch with Footy Sauce. Grab Footy's Wing Sauce and pour it on.
Let me tell you about a product. Footy Sauce, available at some Publix superstores, and they'll take care of you. All you have to do is go in there and complain. That's what I've learned this.
It's true.
When they changed management and they moved new corporate people into Publix, next thing you know, all our sauce was not there anymore. It was like, you know, they weren't getting it from the big corporate companies or whatever. Although we had for years, I mean, we had Footy Sauce in there. You know, you went back 20, 30 years.
Absolutely.
Well, people started complaining. Where's the Footy Sauce? Well, all of a sudden, we start getting orders from Publix.
Right.
So we're shipping cases of it over there because people, you know, it'd be like, I don't want to call, you know, it'd be like any product that people like and they want.
Right. When you get
And
used
you
to
took it away from them.
right.
Why'd
When you
do
get
that?
used to a certain brand,
Yeah.
then when it's
So-
gone, you're not happy.
So go to your Publix. Go to your Publix and either check if they have the wing or the hot sauce, and if they don't, complain. And tell them that you don't have any Footy Sauce here. What's the deal?
And thank you all for complaining, those that have been.
Well,
because
but you
it's
know,
very cool.
you have to really.
Well, you don't have to complain, but you can inquire. How's that?
Oh, I like the complaining part. No, this is a long-standing product.
It's been around forever.
Yeah,
Almost
a
as long as
long-standing
you
product,
have.
and people have become attached to it. And when they go to the store
Right.
and they look, and the shelves got like who knows what in it,
Right.
they complain. You should go right up to the front of the store, to go up to the manager, go to the department head, whoever it is, and say, look, I like Footy Sauce, and I bought it here all the time for many years, and all of a sudden it's gone. I want Footy Sauce. I want to come to the store and get Footy Sauce. They will get it.
Yeah. You know that.
We're selling a lot because they're people. I think it might have something to do with the football season, but that's speculation. And or summer, or being trapped in your house because of the conditions that we live under now.
Right.
Because that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
When because particularly both products are great, but the wing sauce, you know,
It's great, man.
you
What can I
gotta-
say? And
So get to your Publix today and start complaining like crazy. Go up to the manager. You have rights. You are a citizen of the population, that you have rights. You can go into Publix and other stores, but particularly Publix, and demand that they carry Footy Sauce, and they will. And that's all they got to hear is a couple complaints, and boom, they're gone. People have been slowly, gradually complaining and ordering, and keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because, hey, let me put it this way. If you were a Footy Sauce user or fan, complain. Go in and say, hey, where's, if you wanted Heinz ketchup, you would complain. It's the same thing.
Today's word on Sesame Street is complain.
Yeah. Let's all complain.
And by the way, but while we're still on the subject of the sauce, just so folks know that the money that you spend on your Footy Sauce goes to the Here's Help facility.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Well, I know you know.
Unfortunately for me,
Yeah, well.
dummy that I am, my name's on it. I've made it. We put it on the product, but
Right.
I never got a dime. They should put a sign around my neck. He never got a dime.
Sucker.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's just all the things that I did through the years.
Yeah.
Many of them, for some reason, I never. I just did them.
I'm with you. I'm in the same way.
Yeah, I should.
So
They should have gave me a medal and some money.
Well, maybe they will.
No, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Anyway, so go to Publix, go in there and complain. Tell them you want your Footy Sauce, you want your hot sauce, and you want your wing sauce.
And you want it now.
And you want it now.
Go
And you
get
want-
it now. I'll
you
wait.
want them to deliver it to your house in a Publix 85-foot trailer.
Right,
Oh my god.
Yeah. You can see the quality of it. Look at that. There's no separation at all.
I know.
I mean, that's.
You're killing me, man. I'm such a wing fanatic, and I'm just, even at this hour, I'm thinking
$6.95. This could be yours.
I might just drink that bottle before the show's over. I have been known to, in all seriousness, I have been known to eat this stuff with a spoon. That's the honest to God
Oh yeah,
truth.
so have I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
Don't hold that.
well,
against
that's
me.
the other thing that people have to understand. It's a quality product,
Well, yeah.
and it's a long-standing quality product,
Well, you
and it doesn't go sour in the bottle.
right.
Okay, all you gotta do is shake it up and open the top. That's it. 20 years later, you still have sauce.
It doesn't sit around my house long enough to
Yeah.
conceivably go bad.
Yeah. So, well, I don't want to say anything, but you're going bad already.
I'm actually trying to work now on a Footy Sauce IV drip, where I could just wheel the cart around with a little thing in my arm, intravenous.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
I'll tell you, we sold a lot of stuff.
Well, that's good stuff. And you put a lot of when you first started the Footy Sauce years ago. You put a lot of research into the formula.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
who was going to process it for you. It wasn't like you just reached out to the first person that you ran
Oh
into.
no, we didn't buy any
I
crap.
remember. Yeah, you
A lot of people bought garbage and crap, and
spent a lot. I remember.
you can tell. If
Yeah, you can.
I can tell because I can see separation, I can see discoloration, all the different things. We don't have any of that problem here. Plus, we have that. That's really not a cap; it's a wrap.
Right.
Is what it is. So, all right. So get your Footy Sauce and get it now. Go right to the manager.
Don't take no for an answer.
Excuse me. I'm a big fan of your store.
And a good customer.
A good customer. I shop all the time, but I'm very concerned. I haven't seen Footy Sauce on the shelves. So, can you please get Footy Sauce back on the shelves? They will do it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think we covered that. I think we got that down. Complain, right?
Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Footy. We'll be here next week. Ron Hershey, of course, produced the show and is the co-host of the show. We got a couple of young men that we're going to talk to probably next week again, right?
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you guys.
Get their story, and we broadcast from Here's Help. People who don't know what Here's Help is, it's really it's kind of a school and a rehab center, and we built it over the past 50 years or more. And so the guys you'll hear on here, they're telling the true stories.
And there's this gentleman in particular, there's some pretty heartbreaking stories. And, I know we've talked about this. We try not to dwell on the past.
No.
You try to, especially with these guys, you try to focus on the future.
I have a cure for that.
Yeah.
the dwelling in the past.
What is it?
A new girlfriend.
Back with the girlfriend again.
About that issue, you see, every time I try to talk to a female, it doesn't go well for me.
Get yourself straightened out first.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're done for this week. We want to thank you again for watching the podcast. Thank you for subscribing. Make sure you click on the little bell, and that way we'll notify you when a new podcast is up. Make sure you go to Publix, find the general manager, grab him by the throat, slap him around. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, I'm just kidding. But do tell the folks at Publix that you want the Footy Sauce, because a lot of folks who have been watching the podcast have been going to Publix and asking for Footy Sauce.
Yeah, we've been getting orders from Publix.
So, and we appreciate that so much, because all the money from the Footy Sauce goes here to the great work.
That was another big mistake I made.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Footy Podcast. To benefit, here's help. For more information about the Footy Podcast or Here's Help, contact us at 305-685-8201. If you need help or know someone who has a substance abuse or alcohol problem, you can call our admissions office at 305-685-8201, extension 224. If you'd like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. The executive producer of the Footy Podcast is Sam Zacco, COO of Here's Help.